Today's talk is today's talk is the end of a series that we've been building upon this month. The title is The Spiral of Becoming, and I've been reflecting a lot this month as we've moved through this idea of exploring, well, last week, what is a beloved community, and the week before that, what it means to belong. We've built to a point now where I think we can really take a look at what is it that we're becoming. This is one of the classic visioning questions in the life visioning process. And over repeated longer term contemplation for myself, I can demonstrate, I have documented over the years what spirit's telling me I'm becoming, and also what has occurred and what has happened and where I have grown or changed or expanded my life. And I imagine if you go back in your journals and look around and start to see where there you are now demonstrating what was once a vision, which was once an idea, which was once a pondering, if you will. It's been so much fun being with this community and coming together as a team to build and to prepare even more so far for what will we be becoming. And I love that you're providing me an opportunity to share some of these ideas, both in the virtual realm and in our other connections. For those that may be watching or aren't aware, we had a wonderful leadership experience, connection. I don't want to call it a meeting. I don't want to call it a retreat. I want to let it be what it was. And that was a really wonderful afternoon of exploring as one, collectively, a collective voice of what is emerging for this spiritual community. And you've heard me say, and you're going to hear me say, we're raised, right? We're in this 25th year. We're having this celebration of renewal. And what better time to do a celebration of renewal than around the Easter holiday? So, for those that like to celebrate Easter as a high holy day and a high remembrance type of day. Happy Easter. I'm glad you're with us and investing some of your Easter experience with this community. Or if you're watching this later in the week and Easter was the other day, that's okay. And the renewal that we're experiencing, I'm always reminded, happens on a spiral. And I've been in a lot of classes, and you probably see it as well. And our stock market is built upon the idea of a two-dimensional, flat image of what things go up and when they go down, and when they go up and when they go down, and when they go up and down. Even our heart monitors show an up and down trend. It's an either or. You're either up or you're down. Well, what I have found is the evolution of consciousness doesn't happen in an either or universe. The evolution of consciousness happens in a 3D, at the minimum, consciousness. And if you follow some of the newer concepts that are emerging on the planet, there's now this concept of of us entering a 5D universe. We're going to save that for another talk. Today, what I want you to imagine is a spiral that is not a 2D image, but has depth and breadth and height. And instead of going like this in our spiritual experience, we're moving like this. And that spiral, it begins where we began. It begins with the thoughts and the beliefs that we came into this incarnation, this body temple with, and were taught at our earliest of ages. And oftentimes, what were taught at the earliest of ages was a very two-dimensional, binary concept of life. You're right or you're wrong. You're on or you're off. You're black or you're white. You're a boy or you're a girl. But evolution doesn't end. The spiral never really ends. The spiral continues to move up and outward, higher and farther afield, which to me represents a greater vision, a greater perception, a greater understanding of how where I came from and everything that I have lived through and everything I have experienced has brought me to this divine moment. Science might teaches us that if that is true of one person, and I believe it is, then it must be true of all. So this must be the truth of who you are in your life and how you got to this moment. Some people like to equate this with an onion and peeling an onion. And we peel back the layer of the onion. And as we get closer to the center, we get closer to the truth. And for many people, peeling the onion is truly what makes us cry. Got nothing to do with the onion. It's us peeling back the layers of who we are that brings forward an emotion. That's okay. However, to me, again, there's a little bit of that 3D imagery in there, but there is also in the peeling of the onion pretty much the promise of the suffering. I want to move into looking at our evolution as an organization, as a community, as a movement, as individual consciousness. I want to think of that on a spiral that is forever moving upwards and out, greater expansion and a greater height to our perspective. When I first found this philosophy, my first teacher would always refer to it as the 30,000-foot view. If you were looking down on planet Earth from 30,000 feet, well, borders don't become all that relevant any longer. And when you're looking down on the world from 30,000 feet, you don't see those tiny concepts of division. Yesterday in our time together, in our leadership experience, one of the things that I heard very, very clearly is a call for a resurgence, a revival, a renewal, if you will, of educational opportunities, of classes. And um, and in that I also heard a that that sense of solidifying, if you will, anchoring, if you will, our understanding of the principles of the science of mind. So I'm not here to put anybody on the spot or call anybody out or make anybody like start typing into the chat box what the principles of the science of mind are, because that's really not the point of today's talk. But there is one of those principles that I believe does tie in and dovetail absolutely perfectly with this concept of Easter, of the renewal. Now, gratefully, we didn't have to be hung on a cross and buried in a tomb and die to be resurrected today. You've heard me say it before, and you'll continue to hear me say it. This community has not died. This community is not broken. This community is not shrinking. This community is a community that is committed to its growth. And if we're going to be on a Bible kick today, where two or more are gathered, and what I believe is where two or more are gathered in love, with love, because love is a guiding principle of this philosophy, then there is nothing that can hinder the progress, the growth. But the growth isn't up and down. The growth is out and around. We have been individually and as an organization, and we can dig back into the past, the history of this organization, and find where we have been in this same exact place, organizationally, size-wise, numbers-wise, according to any metric you want to use, where we've been in this same place before. And if we think two-dimensionally, we think, well, here we are again. Been here before. Let's do what we did last time to get out of this place. The spiral recognizes that we are at a higher consciousness now than we were the last time we came around the loop. And this community will experience that sense that we are at a higher consciousness. So that means we can see from a higher view. We can see solutions, and we can see the way forward that we weren't able to see the last time we were here. You with me? Remember, this means yes, this means no, this means I have no idea what you're talking about anymore, Robert, and we need to go back to the beginning. So we are, by our very life force, by that experience we have brought to the field for in our own way over the past 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 25 years. As we bring our consciousness to this field of possibility that we call Centers for Spiritual Living Boulder Valley, there is again a new opportunity in front of us that might look like we've been here before, but we can see it from a higher perspective now. We have a greater consciousness. And I believe that we are now at that point where it's imperative for this organization, Center for Spiritual Living Boulder Valley, for this community to come together as an affirmation of one of the other great principles of the science of mind, and that is the principle of eternal life. We do not die as spiritual beings. We are infinite spiritual beings evolving forever across all time and space, transcendent of all time and space. For some lesser and for some more decades than we would maybe even like, we live in a body temple. We have possession of a body temple. What we do with that body temple is up to us. But when we are done with this body temple, when we have used it, abused it, enjoyed it, forgotten about it, healed it, let it wither and healed it again. And every time we come around that spiral, we see it from a higher view. While the body will transcend and transform itself, our life force will also transcend and transform. Our consciousness of our journey of consciousness continues after the physical death. Why, if that is true, and that is what we teach in Science of Mind, in New Thought, and if that is true, why would we believe that there is the need for the death of an organization or a building or a community? We're a divine ideal in the mind of God. This community is eternal. And what I believe is right now we are being asked to to demonstrate our belief in that truth. We as individuals and as a community are being called to stand up and demonstrate that we're committed to the eternal life of Centers for Spiritual Living Boulder Valley. Whatever that might look like, however that might show up, however we might feel called to do it. And based on the turnout we had yesterday, I would say the future looks bright. Based on the turnout we had yesterday, I believe that if if we choose to stay the course, and again, my belief is it is not only imperative, but it is part of each and every one of ours calling to be on this planet at this time to be part of this. I don't think you're hearing these words if you're not part of this to some degree in some way. If you were doing this 5 minutes ago, you've probably already clicked off and taken off for the morning to go find something else. So the fact that you are here means that your contribution, who you are, how you show up, what you bring to the party, or bring to the best potluck in Boulder Valley, it makes a difference. It matters. Because we're building and we are part of a life force. We are part of a vision that will continue on long after we have shed this physical body. But it doesn't mean that we won't be watching, and it doesn't mean that we won't be part of it. It's just, well, we'll have been resurrected. We'll have been renewed. I don't know about you, but I can't exactly afford to go hiding eggs and not know if I'm going to find them again or not in this economy today, in this reality. That's just the way it is. It seems awful wasteful. And I've never been a big Easter type of person. I don't need the chocolate. When the kids outgrew hunting for eggs and the whole candy deal, I was happy to let all of that commercialism, all of that capitalistic stuff, all of that perversion of a pagan holiday, I just never participate in it. And along my own journey, as I continue with New Thought, I came to religious science. Unity does a much different job of the pomp and circumstance of the Christian perspective of Easter. I want us to take a look at what this means from a New Thought perspective. We're a New Thought community. And part of that is that we honor and we participate and we connect and we share with other communities. I was reminded yesterday that prior to COVID, there was an interfaith initiative from within this community into the Lafayette area. I love that. Let's revive some of that energy. Maybe it looks different. Maybe it's other people. Maybe it's more people. Maybe we're leading. Maybe we're just following. But we are here in 2025 with, I think, an imperative mandate from the divine to make New Thought relevant, not only in our own lives, because I know you've been doing that, but to help a greater community see the relevance, see the power of this such a sacred philosophy. New Thought is the answer. And the cool part is, you are New Thought. You are science of mind. You are divine science. You are unity, even if you don't know it, even if you've never stepped into one of their services. We are Muslim and we are Jew. We are Christian and we are Catholic. We are all of it. We are the oneness. which is our primary principle, our very first thing. One power, one presence, one infinite intelligence, one life. We call it God or Spirit. Others call it Brahma or Yahweh or Vishnu or Kuan Yin, the Buddha, Allah. One source. And there is no separation between that oneness and who we are. And that is our prayer. So if you're in a safe space to close your eyes, I invite you to please do so and join me in that consciousness of oneness. The recognition that there is only one love, one heart, one source, one supply. Call it the power, the presence, and the intelligence. Call it God or Buddha or Brahma or Allah, Vishnu, Kuan Yin. No matter the name or the icon or the image we hold in our mind's eye, the oneness illuminates our own lives. The oneness is illuminating all of life. For what I know is I know that every religion, every philosophy, every great teacher, every avatar stands in love, stands for love, stands as love. That sense of absolute love, unconditional love, agape love. And we stand for peace. The peace that passes all understanding, the peace that is radiating here now. It has been said there is no way to peace, but that peace is the way. And so on this Easter Sunday, this day of resurrection, we lift up in our own hearts, in our own self, a vibration of love and peace, intertwined, working together in partnership and collaboration, in co-creation, lifting up this vibration of love and peace for ourselves, for our surroundings, for our neighbors and our friends. A sense of love and peace that brings a deep, deep sense of faith, a deep sense of faith and assurance, a faith that says, as I release these words, they will be made so, and a deep sense of assurance that they will be made in the likeness and the image of the divine. So grateful. So grateful to be in this space, this consciousness of oneness, of eternal life, of love. Most especially grateful to know that as I loose these words into the law, into that creative, universal principle that mandates and guides it all, as we release this word into that creative force, it cannot return void. It cannot be pushed aside. This word cannot be ignored. The law must take it up and manifest. And in fact is already doing that. Is already bringing forward the conditions and the people, the context, the connections, the conversations necessary to manifest this prayer. Everything's already in motion. Everything's already happening. So I just get out of the way. I loose these words into that creative universal law and let it be. And so it is.
And so